How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today I'm going to show you everything wrong with my $11,000 Bentley Continental GT. Spoiler alert, it's a lot. So if you guys are new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy it. And if you do, consider subscribing so I can buy more cars like this. This is my 2004 Bentley Continental GT. I've never had a car this sort of nice before. This one's not really nice, but it will be in the future. I bought it for $11,000 from Tyler Hoover from Hoovy's Garage. And other than looking a little sorry for itself, it does have a lot of imperfections in the paintwork, and it does need some little minor body work. It does actually look pretty put together. It's not too bad. It doesn't have any damage from any accidents, and it's also, I mean, you can take a look at the body, it's pretty darn straight, but it does have, well, it does have a lot of issues. And I'm a little bit concerned because I haven't done a diagnosis of this car. I just gave it a once over when I did that first video. So you're gonna learn along with me what exactly is wrong with this car, and then hopefully I can fix it without too much money. And on a Bentley, that's not gonna happen. So first off, we're gonna start with these wheels and tires. Now, these are not the original wheels and tires. The original car looked like this. These are wheels that Tyler put on, and they're from a Mulliner spec Bentley. But the tires, they're actually, if you look, it's 245/40/19. These should be 275/40/19, which means that the 245s, they look really sunken in. They look kind of small and dinky, and also the wheels are way too in. They just have this nasty, not even, it's not hella flush, it's not sort of flush, it's not flush at all. It really doesn't look good, especially for a car this big. But the big thing I'm really concerned about is right here. So number one, these tires are dry rotted, and the sun did a number on these things. They just look all brown and hazy. But if you take a look, it says 50 PSI, that's a max load rating. But if we take a look over here at what it should be, the cold inflation temperature is 49 PSI. So we are 1 PSI away from max, and the back ones are even worse. You can see that it says do not exceed 40 PSI, and we have to get these to 41. So these are not the right tires for this car. So I'm gonna get some new Michelins for this car, and I'm also gonna put some spacers on here just to space these wheels out, because you know, that's not looking very good. But coming around to this side of the car, you see this? This is my doing. I didn't get the car like this. This is actually because there's no window that goes up. When I bought the car, Tyler said that he rolled the window down in the back and he couldn't get it back up. And what happens when I try to roll the window up is, you hear that? That's not a good sound. So what that means is the regulator is shot. There's probably something broken inside, but I do have a kit to fix that. It's actually pretty cheap on eBay, and all I have to do is take this apart, fix the regulator, and now the window is fine. The window is actually in here. I'm not sure if you can see this, but there is a piece of glass in there. So I don't think the window is shattered in there, and I don't have to get a new window because those are actually quite expensive. But right now I'm just rocking the tape residue. Now the eagle eye amongst you will notice that I don't have a back seat, and I did get the car with some back seats. The reason I took them out is because when I had the car parked at my house, I couldn't get the car started. The car has the batteries in the back, and when you try to start it and the batteries are dead, there's no way that you can get into the trunk other than taking out the back seats. I didn't know you had to take out that one and not this one, so I ended up taking them both out. And over here you can see the my solution to opening up the trunk. So right here is the latch for the trunk, and I used a pair of vice grips just to get a really good purchase on it and pull it as hard as I could without snapping this little cable. And it worked. The trunk opens. Let me show you the batteries. I have charged them both, but one doesn't seem to hold a charge very well. Now the trunk is pretty spacious, but you can see that there's a reason why this car weighs 6,000 pounds, is because it has so much stuff in it. So this is one of the batteries. One of them controls the engine and ECU and all that, and the other controls all the accessories and electronics and whatnot. I think this is the engine one, and this is the one that actually does hold a charge. This one is the problem one, and you can tell that it's a bigger AGM gel type battery. So I need to get a new one of those. Those don't seem to be very cheap. But if we take a look down here, I actually do have a full-size spare, and this was what is this? Okay, so this this is not a real human finger, ladies and gentlemen. This is not blood. This is just from, I think Hoovy made a video talking about how this car was owned by the mafia. Okay, so we got a, that's nice. If we look, all the frame rails are pretty straight. There hasn't been any nasty collisions anywhere. Hasn't been any flooding. It's just kind of neglected. So coming out of the trunk, we see the bumper. The bumper needs some work. There's some crazing right here. There's some cracks in the paint. I think this has been repainted a few times. And these guys, they're not really stuck on all that well. There is a bit of a gap. There's like some tolerances from here to here. You see this one sticks out a lot more. And I'm not sure if this is actually connected to the exhaust. This might just be connected to the bumper, but also everything here is just, it's kind of loose. These things kind of fall apart, and the bumper needs most likely a respray, because days in Russia, well, years in Russia with 6 different owners, they didn't treat it right at all. It just didn't do it any favors. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to do a full detail of this car as well as I can. I'm gonna try to do something with some really good products. Not a necessarily budget-friendly thing, but I wanna make sure that this Bentley looks as good as it possibly can. And I'm trying to figure out if these are the same colors. Now this is it's a black with a fine flake in it. And then if we go down here, I'm not sure if that's exactly the same color or if it's just been touched up or what, but yeah, maybe we can get like a paint expert. You guys tell me in the comments, are those two the same colors? Well, on the camera it looks way different. So maybe it's not, maybe it is, I'm not sure. Front bumper is another story altogether. Front bumper has some fitment issues. Looks like it's been apart before, and I'm pretty sure a $200,000 Bentley does not have these gaps. We come around here and it's even worse here. I can almost stick my finger through here, and these headlights are kind of movable, so who knows, maybe the car's been hit and not reported. I don't think so, because that wasn't on the history report in Russia, but then again, it is Russia, so who knows. Take a look. Yeah, this is just falling apart. This is super dirty, and all these radiators don't look like, oh my god, take a look at that. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to get a new one of these. This is probably the AC condenser. That's not letting any air through. That is horrible. Oh my god. But the thing that kind of breaks my heart is this Bentley logo right here. So the problem is there's no Bentley emblazoned on here, so I'm gonna have to get a new one of those, but that is kind of a finishing touch. Now the main part about this car that's wrong with it is the engine, and let me show you that. Actually, before we go to the engine, I want to spend a little bit of time inside the car. Just take a look down here. This is the infotainment system. The clock is nice, it's a Breitling, but there's this kind of nasty goop up here that I can't get off. I've tried to get this off and to no avail. Just coming down here, and everything here works. If we put the car into the on position, we can see that it should pop up. Is this something else that's broken? Oh, there we go. So this works, and the display isn't exactly the best. It's not a touchscreen at all. I mean, it is 2004. So you have your AC controls here. You also have your controls for stuff like the suspension. Suspension. There we go. Oh, okay. It's a little slow. So suspension, we have comfort and sport. We also have the suspension settings as far as how high the car is, but all of that works. I'm not really concerned about it. The AC does not work. It probably just needs to recharge. It probably needs more than a recharge. I'm not selling this thing on Craigslist. But everything further down is actually in okay shape, other than this. You see some chrome peeling right here. Global close just means it closes all the doors and windows, and it locks everything. But then we come to this. First of all, it's really hard to move, and it comes off in a bunch of pieces. It just seems really, yeah, really badly put together. Yeah, this is gonna have to be replaced. I'm not sure if I can find the right wood or if I can just fix this. There is some clear coat peeling right here, and I do want to kind of spruce this up and make sure that it looks as good as possible. In addition, if you look at the seat, it has these nasty divots in it because I did have the back seats resting on here for quite some time, and they did cause these creases. But this shouldn't be a problem. I could just put some leather treatment, and I can use a heat gun and kind of warm these up. So this should be okay. The seats themselves are in okay shape as well. They don't have any nasty scars except for one down here. It looks like there's a, yeah, it looks like, that's not very good. But other than this and this, they should be in okay shape. If you take a look at the gauge cluster is also very finicky. This tends to go in and out. I think I need to get this LCD screen looked at because it starts going dark, or you look like you're seeing double. It just has like two things on the screen. It doesn't make any sense. It's working now, and it says please apply brakes. So we're gonna try to start the car. We're gonna see how it runs, and then I'm gonna show you the engine. So here goes nothing. All right, so that actually wasn't too bad, but it's running really lumpy. The idle is, yeah, the idle's not great. It looks fine on that tack, but I can assure you, just backrest not locked. I'm not worried about that. I can assure you the idle is not good. It feels like it's running on half the cylinders, which it probably is. So if we open this up, gotta pull this guy right here. Okay. And this is the dirtiest Bentley engine you've ever seen. At least dirtiest Bentley engine I've ever seen. And you can hear that there is quite a big vacuum leak coming from somewhere down here. I can't pinpoint it, but I know that one of the banks, I think it's this bank is running low on compression on all the cylinders, which means that it could either have a set of burnt valves, or it could have a timing issue where it skipped timing and then this bank just isn't getting the correct timing, or it could have some other problem, maybe an electrical problem, but it usually is one of those two things. So this engine is coming out, and the way that it comes out is through the bottom, and I don't have a lift in my shop quite yet, so it's gonna be fun taking out the engine. I'm gonna try to do it from the front. So if I don't get a lift in time, that's the way I'm gonna have to do it. So look at this oil cooler. I'm gonna have to put this through a pressure washer, or just kind of put some POR 15 on it or something. It just looks so bad. But everything here has to get refurbished. I'm gonna make sure that this corrosion never sees the light of day again. I'm gonna have to get all new hardware. And, well, it almost died there. It almost died. But you can see how tight everything is in this engine. I can't fit a hand in here. It's just, I can't imagine doing spark plugs on this. The entire intake manifold has to come apart. This thing looks like a nightmare to work on. Good thing I bought it. So the engine runs like crap, but the transmission is actually okay. This is a 6-speed 6HP26, I believe that's what it's called. And they use this in a lot of Volkswagen cars, actually a lot of German cars in general in the early 2000s. So if we just put it in drive, seems to go in drive no problem. Reverse, no issues there. It doesn't seem like it's clunking or anything. And I actually have driven it, and we went through all 6 gears, and it runs pretty okay. It works with the paddles here. These paddles, by the way, are the same paddles as in the Lamborghini Gallardo, so fun fact there. And the transmission should be okay. The drivetrain is all right, but that engine is just not very good. Let's see. Let's try to rev it. That's with my foot on the floor. Wow. Yeah, can you feel almost 600 horsepower? Oh no. Okay, we'll stop that. That's really unfortunate. So in order to see what really is going on with the engine as far as the electronics, a viewer has sent me this Autel MaxiSys. This is actually a tablet that tells me everything that's going on with the car's ECUs. This car does have a lot of ECUs. So this is like a dealer level scanner, which tells me everything. These are actually quite expensive, so I'm really excited to see how it works. All I have to do is turn it to the on position, and we hit diagnostics. Right there. Let's do... Is there a Bentley? There has to be a Bentley. Right there. Boom. It's just Volkswagen, but it's okay. Let's see if it reads the VIN. Oh, cool. So it read it. So we go to OK, VIN information decoding. It is a Continental series, 2004 to 2013. We go to diagnosis, auto scan. You want to know how long it takes to scan a Bentley and all of its modules? Well, it's basically dark now. So this is everything wrong with my Bentley from an electrical perspective. We have lots of faults. Engine control module, 11 faults. Transmission, 4 faults. Brakes, 2 faults. Chassis is the key. That is 5 faults. Seat adjustment, 11 faults. Display control unit, 8 faults. Air conditioning, 5 faults. Central electrics, 4 faults. Engine control module 2, 13 faults. Airbag, just 1 fault, but it is kind of important. Steering column electronics, that's 1 fault. Dashboard, 17 faults. Gateway, 23 faults. But the ride control system, we Gucci. We also got the seat adjustment, driver side, 12 faults. Navigation, 1 fault. Roof electronic control module, 1 fault. Central module comfort system, 14 faults. Sound system, 5. Parking brake, 1 fault. Rear spoiler, awesome. No problem whatsoever. Bam, pass with flying colors. Tire pressure monitoring, 1 fault. Wiper control unit, 8 faults. How can you have 8 faults in a wiper control unit? It's just a windshield wiper. Battery charger, 6 faults. Parking assistant, 3 faults. And telephone, 1 fault. But we'll leave that be. So there is a lot wrong with this car, but what I know is that when it has a low battery, which this car did have, it does have a lot of these sort of faults. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this over, but I'm gonna erase everything. I'm gonna run the car for about a minute and then see what faults show up, and those are the real number. Hey, want to know how long it takes to erase codes and then rerun everything in the computer? Yeah, it's actually dark now. So here is the result. Now, it's not as bad as it was, but it still is not great. We have 2 faults on the engine control, 1 fault on the brakes, 5 faults on the seat adjustment passenger side. I'm not too worried about that. Display control unit, 1 fault. Engine control module, 1 fault. 7 faults in the seat adjustment. These seat adjustments are, they're just not happy. And everything else passed except for the battery charger, and that is probably because the battery is garbage. So we're gonna see what the engine issue is. Check DTC memory of engine control module, implausible signal. Okay, that's weird. Turbocharger boost sensor, circuit high input, upper limit exceeded. So that is a turbo problem. And intake air system leak, lower limit not reached. So there's a hose somewhere disconnected. And that makes sense because we had a massive vacuum leak somewhere in there. So that actually is not too bad. This can all be remedied with a new engine. Well, a new, to me, engine. So I'm gonna turn this off and we're gonna call it a day on doing this stuff, but this scanner is awesome. It's not bad, but I think we can rebuild it, at least better than I had it. We're gonna get a new engine, new to me engine, and I already have one on the way. Now, the engine is quite an expensive thing. The engines in these cars can cost anywhere between $6,000 to like a bare block to $10,000 plus for something with all the accessories, and I got a really good deal. I'm gonna let you know when I get it, what the engine consists of and where I got it and all that stuff. That's gonna be coming up in the next week or so. I just got a call today from them saying that they're gonna be delivering it in about 1 to 2 weeks. So sometime before the end of this month, we should have a new engine in this thing. But before that, I wanna make sure that everything else in this car is ready for that engine. So we might take this engine out, we might do some wheel work, we might do some brake work, we might just get this thing generally refurbished and looking like a low mileage 47,000 mile Bentley. It definitely does not have 47,000 miles on it. Check my last video and you'll see that it had its odometer rolled back a bunch of times. But that's about it. Hopefully it starts up now, but it's a big project, but honestly, I think it'll clean up really nicely, and I think it's gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna be super proud of it. It's gonna be nice and fast and comfortable and all those things, and I can't wait to get started on it, and I hope you guys join me for that. But the next video on my channel might not be of this car. It might be on one of my other projects because we are gonna be doing all these projects at the same time. So, a while ago, you guys said that I was taking a little long with the Lamborghini, and I don't necessarily agree because it was a lot of work, but I do know that you guys want variety, and I have a lot of cars, and I'm excited to work on all my cars. And if we do this one, why not do another one? Why not do the Supra? Why not do the Ferrari? Why not do everything else? So in the next video, I'm gonna be doing a garage update where we actually work on the Lamborghini. We're gonna be looking at the Ferrari. Hope you guys join me for that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But until next time, this is me reminding you guys that on this car that is gonna need a lot of work, and cars in your own lives, you guys need to wrench every day.